Well, good evening, everyone. And welcome to the Evening with the Stars. Big round of applause for such a wonderful group of people that has come together tonight to celebrate three very special people who are being honored tonight. So, how many of you have read the bios and know who we're honoring? Okay, I love that because that means we can get to the good stuff. If you've read the bios and you know exactly who we're honoring and you know the details about them, then we can get right into the things that touch the soul, and that's the stuff that matters to me. So I would like to start with a very special guest, Alex Stamos. Come on up. How are you? Make yourself comfortable. Yes, big round of applause, by the way. And do you want to know, I just have to say this because I never thought I'd say this sentence. But you are, by the way, how many tables do you have here? Like 40?
These two tables.
Okay.
So I've got my parents, wave hi, Charlie and Florence.
Y'all can make more
My wife's
noise than
parents.
that.
Great old friends of ours and three teachers who have joined us from elementary and high school. Do you guys want to stand up? Stand up. This is Kathy Galley from Cambridge Heights Elementary, Mary Shelton from Bella Vista, Arlene Rose from Bella Vista. Some of my favorite teachers who
Are your parents here?
My parents are there. They're right
Where
there.
are they? Stand up, Mom and Dad.
There you go. And, of course, my wife, Katie, also a Bella Vista graduate. You can stand up, honey. Thank you.
Katie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Can I just keep on pointing at people? Because I'll run out the 10 minutes.
I know what you're doing. Yeah. I know exactly what you're doing. I just have to read this, that you are, and when I read this, I was blown away. You are the Chief Security Officer at Facebook. You are responsible for the safety of the billions of people, 1.5 billion, who use Facebook. What in the world do you say about that?
I mean, it doesn't sound as much fun when you say it that way. That's I appreciate it. Yeah.
But how do you do that?
I'm not by myself, it turns out. It's not just me with typing away and resetting people's passwords. Yeah. Securities and privacy is a big deal for any of the social networks, but especially for Facebook. It's kind of why the company exists. Why a lot of people moved to it was the idea that this is a place where you know where people are and that you can be your authentic self and you can have the privacy control so you can talk to your family or have photos with your friends from college. And so it's actually pretty much deep in the DNA. So there's hundreds of people that work on this that I get to work with. But yeah, it is a bit of daunting sometimes.
Well, long before you got there, you started here. And I was speaking with your wife. She was giving up all the good juice.
Thanks, honey.
And she said that in your garage, am I mistaken? Or closet? Was it garage? Garage, you were running 9 different companies.
No. One company we had a stack of computers in the. We started a company in 2004, but we didn't have an office, so all the computers were in our closet.
Okay.
Which worked out really well. We lived in the Sunset District of the city, so we just had to open up the window, and the fog would roll in and cool off the computers.
You've come a long way.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit better now. Facebook doesn't put computers in our closet. We got a little more money. It's good.
And so you built your business, and tell me how you began to build that business, because it's not just Facebook, it's Instagram, it's other companies that you're in charge of security.
I didn't build that business. That is there's a different guy, and there's a very bad movie about him.
But I'm talking about the security portion.
Yeah, so the security... like you said, Facebook is more than just Facebook. Facebook is also Instagram, WhatsApp, right? So WhatsApp has about 900 million users worldwide.
And you're in charge of the security of all that.
Yeah.
That's my point. Okay.
Yeah. And so, we have a good-sized team, and we're hiring if anybody wants to send resumes. But it's, it's really about thinking about the stuff from the beginning, right? Like building a culture where everybody in the company is responsible to help keep people safe. And then our job, especially in our team, is when those things don't work out like you expect, or crazy things happen in the world, like happen a lot these days, that we're there to respond very quickly and to make sure that we can protect people's lives as quickly as possible.
When I was talking to the lady that nominated you, Tanya Fowler.
Hi, Tanya.
Where's Tanya?
Thank you.
Tanya pulled me aside.
That was a very expensive. I appreciate that, Tanya. There's been a very...
Tanya pulled me aside and she said, I nominated him. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, since he was 7 years old, he was endlessly curious. His mind was always racing and thinking. And there was a spirit of trajectory to his soul. Wow. What do you think about that?
I was an electrical engineer, so I definitely couldn't write that. That's very poetic. The less fun way you could put that is, since Alex was 7, he was a nerd, and right. My parents got me a Commodore 64.
Mine
when
too.
I was, yeah, right. Nice blue screen, right? You do poke and it would do a little programming, and I wrote a virus at Cambridge that spread from Apple II to Apple II. And so I guess the trajectory was set pretty quickly.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 36.
You're 36 years old.
I know. I'm not actually losing my hair. I just have a huge forehead. That's like, it's not,
so do
it's
I.
not a receding hairline. It's, yeah.
We call that a 5 head.
It's a 5, yeah, exactly.
So I do want to ask you, though, what did you learn here that you took with you to take you where you are today from this school district?
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about this. So, Katie's also a product of San Juan schools. I don't know if this is still true, I hope it is, but there seemed to be this time in the 80s and 90s when we just had these neighborhood schools that we could go to, and we felt like we belonged, but also there were incredible teachers who were willing to take kids who they thought had promise and take them all the way, right? And we live in the Bay Area now, and it's turning into Manhattan, right? Like, preschoolers have interviews. Yeah. Like, what are you going to get? Like, we're going to observe the play of your preschooler to see if he can get to the whatever academy. Like, academy, half the kids have diapers. Like, you can't use the word academy. But like in San Juan, like it wasn't like that. Like, we didn't have to. We just went to these schools. Our parents obviously worked very hard to make sure we lived in this nice place, and thought a lot about where we lived. But it was just kind of, there's an effortlessness of it that I wish that we could kind of have for our kids, because my parents didn't have to go and wrangle to get the good teachers and stuff. We're just incredibly lucky that we signed up and we ended up with teachers like this who really cared about us and who put the extra effort in, and it was a great experience. I can't point at one thing because everything I learned came from here. I was just talking to Ms. Rose actually, because I was a double E, and so I had AP English with her. And they let you, when you're an engineer, you can skate through without ever taking English again. So every time I miss up its and its with either apostrophe or not, I think I can hear Arlene Rose in the back of my head. I know she feels like a disturbance in the force, because she was the last person to teach me English when I was 18 years old.
I'm sure she could give you the quick tricks for that tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure, probably.
I have to tell you that as I was studying the bios of all of the honorees tonight, that there is a theme of family. And your wife told me that as busy as you are, in charge of security for 1.5 billion people on Facebook, that you still...
Are you trying to get me to quit? You're going to keep on repeating that until...
That it is it's a daunting statistic, that is for sure. But that you still go to the school fundraising events, you take the kids on their outings, you're very present in your children's schools' lives, and that you are actually not Mr. Dada, you're Mr. Dad.
Thanks, honey. I'm just trying. Both of my parents were incredibly involved, and so And Katie had the same experience, and we're just trying to recreate the experience for our kids that they don't have. I mean, she is the default parent, right? In that if something has to get done, I know Katie's got it handled and she knows what's going on, but I don't want our kids to like really notice that, right? Like we want to build that life where the kids feel that both kids are around, and that's what I had. I mean, and the world's changed, right? Like when we were growing up, my dad would come home from work, he'd work a long, hard day, but then he'd be off. And now we live in this 24/7 world, of which I guess my industry has a significant amount of blame to take for this.
I was going to say.
But I mean, we live in this 24/7 world where the sun never sets on the kind of issues that we're dealing with, and so we work hard to try to carve that out so that the kids don't have to understand that dad's always on call because the sun is always up on a place where bad things are happening, right?
Mm-hmm. I do want to ask you this, and I want to ask you this if we can also have everyone's attention in the room, because this is an important question.
Is this where you're trying to make me cry? Is this the emotional buildup for the...
No, but I do want to ask you to finish this sentence for me. I feel blessed because...
I've always been surrounded by people that believed in me, right? From my parents, my teachers, my wife, my siblings. So, it's easy to succeed if everybody around you thinks you can, right? And so that's a tough thing. I mean, there's a lot of people you run into who don't have that benefit, and that's unfortunate, but that's why it is special.
Well, you're giving a lot of the credit to your family, and I know it's well-deserved, but you did the work. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And it is with this honor that we present, I don't have glasses, the San Juan Education Foundation Stars Science, Technology, Arts, and Reading for Students Hall of Fame inductee. Give it up, Alex Stamos, 2015. In recognition of your innovative spirit, professional success, and commitment to giving back to the community in a way that supports youth development. We thank you from the San Juan Education Foundation. We're here. So when I saw a 917 area code pop up on my phone today, which is New York City, I about fainted because I knew it was this next person. I can't even talk. I'm so excited to interview her. Because, you said you were a nerd. I was a Broadway geek. Imagine that. So, Kate Levering. You mention her name, and people just automatically start clapping. First of all, a round of applause for our next honoree, Kate Levering. Mm-hmm. Kate called today because we were going to end up doing a quick, run through, and we really didn't need to because here you go.
I might have to stand.
You want to stand?
Well, I'll just perch.
There you go. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. So I have to say that, first of all, I hear that you took everything that you learned here at this district and took it straight to Broadway. And you took a group of people with you. Oh. And that a through line of your story was that it always included other people. It was never just about you, even when it could have been. What is your reaction to that?
That's such a nice way of putting it, actually. First, I have to sort of give a shout out to my tribe that's here. I have 3 tables of people, one of which is my 91-year-old grandmother, who I don't get to see very often, and will meet my 5-week-old baby tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that. But my tribe of people have supported me, since I started in Dolly Dinkle dancing, and definitely one of my through lines throughout my career and life is just being lucky enough to have so much love and support around me. And some of those people started out dancing with me when I was 7 years old, and we all moved to New York City one after the next, and we all we're in Broadway shows across the street from one another. My friend Rick is here tonight. He and I were in Broadway shows across the street from each other in New York City, and we could just kind of wave to each other at the stage door before we went to work every night. And so yeah, it's definitely a sense of family, but very much an extended family who've been with me through my career.
So you were Tony nominated for 42nd Street.
I was.
How'd that feel?
You know, in retrospect, I was really young when I was nominated, so I kind of didn't know what was happening to me as it was happening to me. And I think only recently have I really been able to appreciate kind of how special that was and how it doesn't happen very often. And so it's just like a sweet moment in time when I get to go back and think about, God, that actually happened to me, and it doesn't happen to very many people. So at the time, I was just working very, very hard. Mm-hmm. And I was hurting. I was just working my body very hard. It's very much being like a professional athlete. And so, yeah, at the time, I don't think I knew what was happening. And I think that's true of many people who are just in that daily grind of whatever their work is. But now it's just seems like a long, long time ago.
You've had also and have a very successful television career, too. Tell us about that.
Well, television is very different than theater in that it's a different kind of stamina that it takes. Mm-hmm. Theater is sort of instant gratification. You have this relationship with the audience, and it's this give and take, which is a really cool high to be on. Television is very different. It's a lot of waiting around, a lot of checking my Facebook page in my trailer as I'm waiting for my scene to come up, like, oh, who's doing what right now, as I'm waiting to be called on set. And the gratification comes later when you are watching, or sometimes I don't watch because I don't love to watch myself on television, but the gratification comes later when you see the finished product. But you don't have control of over your performance the same way as you do in theater, because there are editors and directors and people that are like tweaking things, and so sometimes you see a finished product and you're like, that is not what I did at work. Who clipped that, paragraph out or whatever. So it's just a different art, I guess.
What do you feel like you took from here that made you and makes you such a success? Did any of it come from being in the school district?
For sure. I was just talking about my kindergarten teacher, Vera Refness, who I wish she was here tonight, because she was just this like magical woman. She's retired, but she really, I feel like if there's anybody that gave me my start, it's my kindergarten teacher. She just kind of like saw something in me, and from there, I had many mentors in Sacramento, from Leland Ball at Sacramento Music Circus, or my dance teachers. But I think in my life and my career, there's always been kind of one person or a group of people, but like in a certain time, that one person that was like, I will take you in. In New York, it was Susan Stroman, who kind of picked me out of a crowd and decided to give me this shot. In kindergarten, it was Vera Refness, who, decided to give me a solo in the Safety Kids performance.
Where did you get the guts to go from here to New York City?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would never let my child do that, I don't think. I think that I was really green. And when you're green, you don't know a lot. I just had this like blind faith that I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to go to college, and I'm going to, I had the foundation of working professionally from a really young age, so I felt like I had a leg up from people my age who were going to college. But I think that I was just green and kind of dumb. I didn't know that it was supposed to be scary. I just knew that I had to succeed and sort of pound the pavement in New York City until something happened. And I was very lucky that something happened the first week I was there.
I read that, and that blows my mind. The first week you were there, that something happened.
Yeah.
I was speaking to your husband earlier. I did some snooping around while you weren't looking, and he said that you were the salt of the earth. You were his most trusted friend, and that there is not another person on this earth who is as Sue is magnanimous and so kind and cares about other people before herself first. That's pretty rare for a Broadway star.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
He must know that I'm very sleep deprived and need compliments right now.
And I've heard that about you from numerous people. When they found out that I was going to be interviewing you, they kept saying, she is the nicest person. What keeps you going? What keeps that kind soul fed?
My friends and my family. I have it's sort of strange to say as a performer, but I'm very much an introvert.
Really?
Yeah. This sort of setting, actually, I can get very uncomfortable and awkward.
It doesn't show.
I'm much better if you give me a script and I can memorize what I'm supposed to say. But I'm somebody who has a very small inner circle of friends, but we are all sort of mafia loyal to each other. Mm-hmm. And whenever I get to be around them, it is what truly feeds my heart and soul. And that's why everybody here, it's so meaningful when I can be with the people who have loved and supported me. I'm not like somebody who has a ton of, I'm not like a networker or somebody who sort of, it's just not me. So for sure, my friends and family.
Your mother came up to me earlier. Where is she? Right there. And she just was so sweet, and she was standing there, and she said, I'm her mom.
This is my mother's night, ladies and gentlemen.
And I just have to recognize her.
This is her Academy Awards. It is happening right now.
Maybe we should give the award to her tonight. But speaking of family has continued for you. You now have a child.
Yes, I have two. I have a 2-year-old and like I said, a 5-week-old baby. Yeah.
Oh, it can be done.
Sort of.
And I have to say that I saw you at Music Circus in a chorus line, which is when I fell in love with you. To her husband, I mean, like as an actress. I was obsessed because you rocked it. You blew it out. And that was after a little hiatus that you had taken. How did that feel to come back and do that?
Oh, it was terrifying. I hadn't been on stage in, I think, over 10 years, and I was definitely at least 10 pounds overweight from my first baby, and definitely felt 10 years too old to be demanding so much of my body. But I have to say, in all the sort of cool things I've done in my life, it meant the most to come home and again to have my 90-year-old grandmother be able to see me on stage once again. For my niece and nephew, for my husband, who I met after my theater career, to be able to sort of see what feeds my soul, and to do that role in that show was I just sobbed on stage every night. I just sobbed and sobbed. And one of my best friends, who is in my tribe of people, she and I hadn't been on stage together probably since we were, I don't know, 16 or 17 years old. She was in the show too, so I got to watch her every night do her thing, and coming home has been just the most meaningful, I think, moment in my career thus far.
I love talking to multi-talented people, and you really are like the quadruple threat. I mean, you've got it all. But deep inside of you, what is the smile of your soul?
Oh, you can't say that to a mom, because obviously my children are the smile in my soul. But you can take. It's very strange to step away and be mostly a mother right now. I heard you're hiring at Facebook in your in your department. I'm unemployed right now. No, I think it's stepping away. I have realized as a mom that I still need performing in the arts in my life in order to just feed that other part of me. So other than my wonderful husband and children, I have realized about myself that I need that. It is in me. Vera Roughness gave it to me, and here it stays.
So if you could sing something to Vera Roughness right now,
Sing? Oh my God.
what would it be?
Okay, I got it. I learned a trick, learned it quick. It's for my telephone. This was my solo. Just learned a song, didn't take long. Now I can always call home. 4895443. 4895443.
And there you have Tony nominee Kate Levering.
That's where it began.
That's where it all began, y'all, right there. What an honor. Kate, I present you and induct you into the Hall of Fame. Kate Levering, 2015 inductee. There's only 3 people this year because it is such a high honor. And recognition of your innovative spirit, professional success, and commitment to giving back to the community where you came from in a way that supports youth development. San Juan Education Foundation welcomes our star, Kate Levering. All right, our wonderful next guest, I see sitting right over there, who has quite a story of family herself. I see a theme tonight of family. And it's Mary Rotelli. Mary, come on up. I'm a hugger. I'm sorry about that. Here you go.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Welcome to the stage, and congratulations.
Thank you.
So I know many of you got to read Mary's bio, but there's some things that aren't in there that I did some digging from your aunt. And, where is she? Stepmother. I'm sorry, stepmother, not aunt. Yep, there she is right there, Nancy Tykert. I got a lot from her.
That may not be good.
Oh, it's all good. Okay. So first of all, I have to say that you're the Executive Vice President, Chief Operating Officer of Tykert. Wow.
Thank you.
Check this out. In the top 5 of your MBA class at Harvard. Accurate? Mm-hmm. Top 5. You are responsible for all operational aspects of mining, manufacturing, selling, and developing of concrete to customers and construction projects in the greater Sacramento area. How in the world do you get your brain around that?
It's a wonderful job. And building the city has been exciting for me, and it's been exciting for 4 generations of my family before me. So I feel really honored to get to be part of this city. We had a project I was managing that we actually were working on Highway 80 up in Roseville. We stripped off the asphalt and underneath found this big slab of concrete with a Tykert stamp from 1937. It was a blast. It's an amazing job to get to do, where you see in front of you every day what you do. So
What did you do with
that
that Tykert stamp?
We took the whole slab back.
Good.
Because we said, you know what, we're going to keep that.
Well, and that leads me to my next point. You're the 5th generation of the Tykert family to be here.
It's a privilege.
It is a privilege. And I also have to say, knowing what we just heard about your Harvard education, you could have gone anywhere in the world being in the top 5 of the MBA class, and you chose home.
It's been a journey to get here, and it's a wonderful place to have landed. My job right before Tykert, I actually worked at Apple, and it was right when iPods were coming out, which was really fun. And you could trade an iPod for anything, because no one had them. It's back when you couldn't even control the order those songs played in. But coming back to Tykert was an unparalleled opportunity. I mean, my family's been doing this a long time, and I was privileged to get the chance to work here. And it's, in my whole life, I hadn't made a ton of deliverables ever. And all of a sudden, the rock plant I worked at was making 9,000 tons of rock every day. How cool is that? So it's been an amazing place to be.
So you said, you were at Apple before. Are you 100% fulfilled with what you're doing? Be honest.
Absolutely. I love it here.
Why?
The people are so down to earth, and what we do is makes a difference to everybody. So as long as we're going to drive cars and on roads, and we're going to live in subdivisions, and we're going to live in buildings and work in buildings, then what we do makes a difference. So there's something satisfying about seeing that every day and seeing how long it lasts. And at Apple, the stuff we did was exciting and fabulous, but also that wasn't that long ago, and no one has those anymore. And so relative to seeing a slab that thousands of people have driven over from 1937, and thinking the stuff we put in place right now is going to be here that long, that's pretty amazing.
You said something that struck a chord with me, and it's so true. Building Sacramento. We are in a boom right now where everything you hear is Sacramento thriving. But you've been a part of that, and I say the collective you. I see Fred over there and many of your family members. The collective Tykert has been a part of that for a long time. How do you feel about this boom we're seeing right now?
Well, it's exciting to see things coming back. We had a bit of a downturn here in the Central Valley, and we're climbing out of it, which is great. And I think Sacramento's a wonderful place to live. It was interesting coming back here I was in the Bay Area before this, and so coming back and seeing Midtown thriving and all of the different interesting restaurants and nightlife. When I lived here earlier in my life, the streets would kind of roll up about 9 o'clock. There was nothing to do. There wasn't B Street Theater. There wasn't the Mondavi Center. There wasn't all this stuff you could go out and do at exciting times like 11 at night. So I think Sacramento's really evolving. I'm glad to see HP coming back here. I'm glad to see surrounding communities growing. So being in the city is amazing. And I think one of the things that our company and our family has always been committed to is how do you grow the region also? How do you make sure there's the symphony and the arts and things for our kids to do and a great outdoors? And so the Tykert Foundation that my dad's the director of has given back to the community for decades. And the company's done it a lot longer than that because we're not going anywhere. Once you build a rock plant, you're pretty much here. So it's important to make sure that here is an amazing place to be.
I think you've proved that after 5 generations. That is for sure. And you have laid, no pun intended, a strong foundation in this region with your family.
There's a lot of good puns about construction.
There's a lot of them. I see there's children at your table. Are they yours?
Why, yes.
Tell
My
me
sons, Tommy and Christopher, are here.
Okay.
Tommy's 12 and Christopher's 10.
And I understand your husband has ventured out into his own business. Tell me about that.
Yes, my husband is the proprietor of the Monk's Cellar, which is a brew pub up in Roseville they opened about a year ago.
Who's been there?
Well,
All the Tykers.
They make about 8 kinds of beer on site and really good food, no TVs, an amazing place. And it's about 4 minutes off of Highway 80 for those of you who may ever go skiing.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
So take off if you can, this is probably impossible, but take off your Tykert hat for a minute. You as a human being, what sustains you, and what do you believe about coming from such a strong foundation in a family like you've come from?
Well, I actually think both of our other honorees had awesome answers to that, too. I think having an amazing family and a great community and people that believe in me are all wonderful things. I'd say 2 of the things that make it really fun every day are my children, which makes you think this is why I do it. And you come home after a hard day and they are excited to see you and you think this is the best thing that's ever happened. And my little Christopher still comes running to hug me when I get home every night, which is cool. And Tommy is willing to give me a hug too.
Will you promise to this room that you will continue to do that? I need a verbal yes from both.
Right on, thank you.
Yes, you got it.
Yep.
And so at the end of the day, and I know you said your children, and I know you said your career, but when you lay down in bed at night, what makes you fulfilled the most? What makes you feel like you are making a difference in this world? Because you're here tonight because you are making a difference. But that difference could be different to us than it is to you. What is the difference you're making?
I get to be part of all of this. I get to be part of the community. I get to be part of the community organizations that have made Sacramento a great place to be. I get to be part of this wonderful family and mother to these children. And I get to be part of really building the infrastructure of our entire community. All the roads you drive in and all the streets that you walk down, all of those we have some part of, and I'm really proud of that.
One of my favorite things to talk about, and this is just something I'm going to throw in there, is life lessons. And God knows I've had plenty of them that I've learned from. Have you ever learned any along your career that at the time may have felt like they were not good that ended up being some of the greatest blessings of your life?
Well, that's a big question.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I'll say I appreciated about one of my teachers at one point said, you only plan about 30% of your life. And at the time, I thought, that doesn't seem like much. I think I get to plan all kinds of stuff. And I think 30% is kind of high in retrospect.
I agree.
You sort of see what opportunities come your way and who you meet and what happens to your health or your family's health and, you know, who shows up in your life. So I think being open to possibilities, and I mean, going from Apple to Tykert was completely just, I have this opportunity and now's the moment. I'm either going to do it or not. But I think being open to possibility is an important life lesson.
What's next?
Growing and being more and more better all the time, as the kids say.
Yeah, as the kids say.
Yeah.
All right, well, we want to induct you into the Hall of Fame. Mary Rotelli. What an honor.
Thank you so much.
What a delightful human being, and we are honored to have you in our community. I mean that. So you are the latest inductee. Here is your plaque that says you are in the Hall of Fame, Mary Rotelli, 2015, in recognition of your innovative spirit, professional success, and commitment to giving back to the community in a way that supports youth development. That's a great picture, too, by the way. San Juan Education Foundation. Okay. You know, you can't help but, come on up, Pam. You can't help but hear the theme of family throughout all of these stories. And I think about all of the people who don't have that family foundation that built all of these stars that you saw tonight. That's why this foundation does what it does. It gives money directly to teachers to help them spot the children that need the help. So, in a way, this sense of family that we have seen tonight from our three honorees can be continued by your financial donations to the San Juan Foundation. So I cannot tell you, I have seen this program in action. I know it changes lives. And as you see tonight, it has had a dramatic impact on many people in this room.